SwitchBot has sent me this. It's their new video doorbell and they have asked me to test and review it. It kind of looks like every video doorbell that you can get. And yes, the design is very nondescript. But paired with this, the video doorbell's display, it's starting to stand out from the crowd. And add the optional solar panel that you can get separately, and it's starting to look like a really interesting video doorbell. It also supports Onvif and RTSP that we'll be setting up in Home Assistant and taking a look at before I'll give you the pros and cons of the video doorbell. And on top of that, it also supports up to 512 gigabytes of local storage on an internal SD card. So let's take a look at the new SwitchBot Video Doorbell. So first off, SwitchBot did send me that video doorbell for me to test and review, and I haven't paid for it myself, but they haven't seen the video in advance or have any say in what I'm going to say about the video doorbell. So first off, let's start with unboxing the device and see what you get in the box when you buy it. You'll of course find the video doorbell and also the video doorbell display themselves. The power cord of the video doorbell display is permanently attached and you're not able to replace it should anything happen with it. In the box you'll also get a few templates for mounting the display and also the video doorbell on the wall or on your door. Both the display and the video doorbell can be hanged on the wall with either screws or with double-sided tape. SwitchBot has also included a 4 GB SD card in the display. That means that you're ready to record locally right away. Unboxing the solar panel really isn't that exciting. You'll of course find the solar panel itself. And looking at it, it's actually way thinner than it looks in pictures. Other than the panel, you'll also find a stand which you'll attach by screwing it to the back of the panel. Mounting screws are also supplied in the solar panel box, but other than a quick starting guide, that's pretty much everything that's in the box. The only disappointing thing I have to say about the panel is the non-removable USB-C cable. Don't get me wrong, it's pretty long and I don't think that you'll be having trouble with finding a spot for the panel and having the cable run all the way to the doorbell, but it would have been nice to be able to swap the USB-C cable around as you need it. I suspect the decision was made to be sure that the connection between the panel and the cable is waterproof, which I totally get. It's just a minor nitpick that I had. So let's have a look at some of the specs of both the doorbell and the display. First off, the video doorbell features a 5000 mAh battery, which SwitchBot claims will last you about 19 months on a single charge. The video doorbell uses a 2K sensor, which is pretty standard. Anything below that would have felt cheap, and anything above that would probably have raised the price of the doorbell. It has a viewing angle of 165 degrees. Some people prefer a wider angle for the doorbells, while other people prefer the more natural look of a narrow angle. But I think 165 is a viewing angle that hits a sweet spot between being too wide and too narrow. It also features color night vision, which we'll touch upon later. And it achieves this by having 2 bright white LEDs, paired with 4 IR LEDs. Lastly, the video doorbell also features an NFC reader, which you can use if you also have a SwitchBot lock, a speaker, as well as a microphone. So let's move over to the display that comes with the doorbell. The display really isn't something to write home about. It's not a bad display per se, but it's also not a great display. It gets the job done, but that's pretty much about it. It's a 4.3-inch display, and while the colors are a bit muted, the viewing angles are surprisingly good on the display. No matter how I tilt or move around the display, I really don't notice any discoloration. So the colors are not great, but the viewing angles are. I haven't been able to find any information about the resolution, but I really can't imagine that it's above 480p. Moving close to the display, you'll be able to distinguish individual pixels quite easily. But standing at a distance, it's really not that big of a problem, especially since the display isn't bigger than it is. But again, just to iterate, for what it's supposed to do, it does an adequate job. So it's important to know that the video doorbell itself doesn't connect to your Wi-Fi. Instead, it connects to the video display via an RF connection, and the display is then connected to your home Wi-Fi. This also means that the doorbell and the display has to be within 10 meters of each other if there are no obstructions between the two, or about 5 meters if there are walls between them. Next, let's go and set up the doorbell in the app and go over what kind of settings you get. Okay, so here I have set up the display and put the doorbell on the table, and I have my phone ready, and I'm just going to plug in the display, and you'll see that it's going to boot up and it's going to tell you by a chime. So let's open up the SwitchBot app. So it's telling me that I have to add a new device, so let's press add a device, and it should show up here on the list of devices that can be added via Bluetooth. And if it doesn't show up, you can also manually just add it by scrolling down on the list of devices and locating the video doorbell. It should then guide you through how to set it up. So the first thing that you will have to do is to press and hold the two buttons here to put it into pairing mode. And the second thing you have to do is to flip the power switch on the back of the video doorbell to on. And the doorbell icon should begin to flash. Okay, I'm just going to hit connect. And both were added pretty easily. Okay, so it's important to remember that this video doorbell only supports 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi. So you need to be connected to 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi when setting this thing up. And after about 30 seconds or so, the screen will turn off and you'll be able to name your device and pick a room that it's placed in. And I'm assuming they mean the doorbell and not the display, since the icon is of a video doorbell. So actually I don't have a room for that. So I'm just going to add a new room and say outside, and I'm going to keep the name. Please install your video doorbell first. So if you're unsure how to mount this on the wall, you can watch a setup guide here in the app. I'm going to skip it for now. It's also going to tell you about their subscription service. You don't have to use it since it does have built-in storage in the form of an SD card, but you can if you want AI detection for something like pets or vehicles, or if you need to store more videos in the cloud. So I am going to say I'm not going to start my free trial. Okay. And the first thing it's going to ask you to do is to format the SD card to be able to actually store video clips on it. So I'm going to do that to begin with. It only takes a few seconds. Okay, so that was kind of easy. So pressing the doorbell icon will obviously make the doorbell ring. I'll get a notification and the display should light up showing the live stream of whoever is supposedly outside ringing my doorbell. Yeah, and you see a live stream of whatever's going on, and it's pretty fast. It's almost instantaneously. And then if you answer the call, you'll be able to have a two-way communication, or you can just hang up. And you probably also noticed that the ringing sound from the doorbell and from the display were pretty crispy and really loud, but luckily you can adjust those. So let's head to sound and lights within the settings, and then the inside bell volume. And from experience, I found that having both the doorbell and the display set at 70% is kind of the sweet spot between being too crispy, but also being loud enough that you can hear them. Quick replies is also something that you can adjust yourself. So if you want the doorbell to say something like "thank you for stopping by" or "please leave the package at the door," you can navigate with the display and have the doorbell announce the message.
Please leave the package at the door. Leave a message if you'd like to.
But with the quick reply settings, you can first of all have it auto reply with one of them whenever someone rings the doorbell. But you can also add your own quick reply. And this is a feature that I think that if I had this installed permanently, I would not be able to not misuse this. So let me show you what I mean with that. So if I add my own quick reply, I can make a recording and have the doorbell announce my recording whenever someone rings the doorbell, or if I choose so from the display. So let me demonstrate. Please go away. I don't want any visitors. And then whenever someone rings the doorbell, it will tell them to just go away. Please go away. I don't want any visitors. So I think this is really funny, and it's a great idea because this can actually be used for, like, if you're expecting a package or something and you don't expect to be able to reply to the package delivery guy to just put the package somewhere safe. So this is I think this is a really great and fun feature. And so removal alerts is a settings you can add. So if you want to be notified if anyone removes your doorbell, you can just activate this setting and you will be notified with a notification from the app. Within the motion detection settings, you can also set what kind of motion you want to be detected. So for example, if you want any kind of motion detection to be recorded or have only humans being recorded, or for example, vehicles or pets. All of them except the human one requires that you subscribe to their online subscription service. So that also tells me that all of the AI is done in the cloud and not locally. So just also something to keep in mind. And it can be scheduled, and you can also set a detection area for where you want the motion to be added. So the pair devices one is also an interesting one. On the box, this had a Matter logo on it, and that's because this can connect to a SwitchBot log, as I told you before, and then it can expose that log via Matter. It's not a SwitchBot hub, so it means that other SwitchBot devices can't be connected to the display. It's only logs that can. But if you do have a log connected to this display, you can have it exposed to, for example, Home Assistant or SmartThings via the Matter integration. The log will also show up on the display. We'll be able to use the button with a key icon above it to unlock it or lock it. In the display settings is where you can choose whether you want a time watermark and a logo watermark to be added to the stream. You can also choose what kind of night vision you want. So for example, it does have spotlights built into the doorbell that you can set it to turn on, but you can also have it use the infrared light only. The screen brightness can be adjusted, and you can also set whether or not you want a shorter or a longer timer period. And you can also just have the display be always on. If we move to the home screen of the doorbell, you'll see a live view of whatever the doorbell is currently seeing. But you can also scroll down to see a timeline of events like the doorbell rang or motion were detected. And if you press it, you'll be able to view a playback of that event. You can also delete the video clip or save it if you want to. SwitchBot has also included a quick actions panel that you can access from the bottom taskbar. Here you can do stuff like snooze the doorbell or sound the alarm, which is really loud. I'm not going to do it. It's currently way too late for me to sound an alarm. You can activate the spotlight. You can also, in a whim, control the motion detection settings or make a quick reply from in here. Also, just to show you from the home screen of the app, from where you get an overview of all of your SwitchBot devices. The live stream from the camera will also be shown as a tile that fills up the entire width of the screen. And while it may look like it's live, it's actually not. It's just a snapshot from the latest event that the camera recorded. But if I press the doorbell, you'll see that the tile updates. So it's not a live view, but it's a snapshot of the latest thing the display saw. And if someone does ring the bell and you don't answer on the display, you'll get a notification that tells you that you've got a new visitor. And then you can press the play button underneath the display to play that last recording. And that's actually a really nice feature that you don't have to get out your phone and answer the call from or watch old clips on your phone. You can just do it from the monitor. And also, if you want to access a live view of the doorbell's camera from the display, you can do it at any time. You just have to press the pickup button here, and it'll connect to the doorbell, and it's actually going to do it pretty quickly. So my main gripe with the display really is just the lack of use of the display. Like, why not have my devices show up here, like on the hub 3, or have a different type of clock shown, or have a calendar or something? It's just a very big space used for nothing. Oh, and by the way, I almost forgot that you're also able to choose the sound that the display makes whenever someone rings the doorbell. SwitchBot has included a list of 10 different tones that you can choose between, and you're not able to upload or in any other way make your own sounds that the display makes. It's kind of a shame, but well, I don't really think it's that important anyways. I'll be sure to add a short compilation of all of these sounds at the end of my video, so you can skip ahead if you're interested in hearing how those sounds. One of the most enticing features, at least to me, is the promise of Google Home, Amazon Alexa, and Home Assistant compatibility. Google Home and Amazon Alexa both utilize a cloud connection. But with Home Assistant, on the other hand, the doorbell is supposed to work with both Onvif and RTSP, and we'll try to set that up in a moment. After connecting the doorbell to the Alexa app, it shows up as you would expect. You're able to initiate a live stream as well as hear the person on the other end and talk right back to them. If you have an Echo device with a display, you're also supposed to be able to view the live stream on that display. Even better is the fact that you are able to use the doorbell in Amazon routines. This means that whenever someone rings the doorbell, you can have a specific light turn on and have all of your Echo devices announce that someone is at the door. This is a pretty neat and, well, to me at least, a pretty essential part of having a video doorbell attached to your smart home system. So the video doorbell really do go well with the Amazon Alexa ecosystem. But with Google Home, on the other hand, I really do have a few things to say about that. Let's start out with the positive things. If you do have a Nest display, you are able to start a stream either with your voice or by choosing the doorbell on the display itself. But if we take a look at the Google Home app, the live stream simply isn't available. Every time I try to access it, it simply throws me an error. And this has happened on multiple devices, not just my phone. But what's worse to me is that the doorbell isn't available as a trigger for automations. So unlike in the Amazon Alexa app where you can trigger an automation when someone rings the doorbell, this simply isn't an option in the Google Home app. That means that all I can do with the doorbell in my Google Home ecosystem is to tell my Nest display to show the live stream. To be fair to SwitchBot, I do think this is the limitation of the, well, subpar Google Home app, rather than anything that SwitchBot can do anything about. But the biggest enticing feature of the video doorbell's video streaming capabilities is the inclusion of Onvif and RTSP, because this means that I can have totally local video streaming in my Home Assistant setup without the need for the cloud. So let's go to my computer and let's try and set up RTSP and Onvif. So the first thing that you want to do in order to set up the video doorbell via RTSP or Onvif is to head to the SwitchBot app. Here under the settings of the video doorbell, you will find an option called More Features. Here's very important that you've opted in for the camera account, because if you haven't, you won't be able to stream via RTSP or Onvif. It's also here under the account information that you'll have to set up a username and a password that you'll need when you're setting it up. So after you've set up your camera account, you'll want to head over to your Home Assistant instance. Here under Devices and Services, you'll want to add an integration. So searching for Onvif, you'll get the option to add an Onvif camera, and we want to do that. You can have it search automatically on your network, which I'll be doing. So the doorbell should show up on its own, and if it doesn't, you can add it manually. If you're using Onvif, you'll want to have it listen to port 2020. And in the username and password field is where you want to enter those credentials that you set up in the camera account of the SwitchBot app. Also worth noting is that while setting it up, you'll have to view the live stream in the SwitchBot app or on the display that comes with the doorbell, because otherwise the Onvif integration and the Onvif onboarding will fail. But if you've done all of that, it should show up right in Onvif. And pressing the sensors will show you the live stream from the doorbell that it's currently viewing. But other than viewing the live stream, you don't really get any other options. The doorbell presses aren't being communicated to Home Assistant, so you're not able to use those in automations. And another thing to notice is also, if I stop the live stream on my phone, so the doorbell now is idle and not streaming, I am not able to view the live stream on my Home Assistant instance. It simply just loads. And that's because Onvif is not able to initiate a live stream from the video doorbell. SwitchBot tells me this is due to a limitation in Onvif with battery-powered cameras, and that Onvif is not able to initiate live streams on any battery-powered cameras. I don't have any, so I don't know if that is true, but it's the case with the SwitchBot Video Doorbell at least. So in order to actually view the live stream, you either have to initiate it in the SwitchBot app or wait for someone to ring the doorbell. It's a pretty annoying limitation, but I don't think SwitchBot can do anything about it.
Please go away. I don't want any visitors.
You might have noticed that I've changed shirts since the last shot. And that's because whenever I tried to set up RTSP, it would simply fail. Well, it turns out that I'm just really bad at reading instruction manuals. I actually messaged SwitchBot about my problem and they pointed me in the right direction. So it was just a case of me not reading everything I should and just jumping to conclusions. But here's how you set it up with RTSP. On your integrations page in your Home Assistant instance, you'll want to add a new integration and then just search for generic camera. When I tried to set up the doorbell with RTSP, I omitted this part, which is the MAC address of the video doorbell. So unlike all of the other SwitchBot cameras that can also be integrated with RTSP, you'll need the MAC address for the doorbell. And the MAC address can be found under the device info in the SwitchBot app. But in this field, you'll want to start with RTSP:, then 2 forward slashes. And then you'll want to input the doorbell's IP address that you found in the app previously. And you want to insert a colon and then port 554. After that, it's another forward slash with the MAC address. And here it's very important to notice that you have to omit the colons. So it's just the MAC address with no colons at all. And then /live1. Live 0 won't work. Once that's done, you'll want to choose the TCP transport protocol. And as the authentication protocol, you'll want to choose digest. Then all you have to do is input your credentials as with Onvif. Check on the verify SSL certification and then submit. And just like when we added it via Onvif, the doorbell needs to be active in the app or on the display in order for it to connect via RTSP. So let's try and hit submit. It'll try to load a preview of the camera stream, but every time I've tried to set this up, the camera stream just doesn't load in this preview. So every time I've done this, I've just hit everything looks good and then submit. And then once you renamed it and added it to Home Assistant, it should show up. But once again, just like with Onvif, RTSP isn't capable of waking up the doorbell from sleep. And that means if I try to view the stream now once the doorbell is idle, it'll simply load and not show me the current live stream. And just like with Onvif, RTSP isn't registering the clicks or the doorbell presses. So I have no way of knowing when someone rings the doorbell, at least not from Home Assistant. I have to rely on the SwitchBot app for that. And sadly, even if you add the official SwitchBot cloud integration, the doorbell doesn't show up there either. So there's really no way of using this doorbell in automations in Home Assistant, at least not currently. As mentioned earlier in the video, the camera has a sensor resolution of 2K as well as color night vision. To achieve color night vision, SwitchBot has included 4 white LEDs as well as 2 infrared LEDs. When someone is up close to the doorbell, it's really easy to see details in their face, both in daylight but also in the dark. Even in complete darkness, the white LEDs does a pretty good job at showing the details in people's faces. And the infrared LEDs also does a pretty good job at showing the details, but without color obviously. But when moving away, you don't have to move very far away from the video doorbell before details becomes blurry. Especially at night, the details are not very well distinguishable even when you have the night vision IR or the night vision white LEDs turned on. It does a pretty good job when people are close to the camera or not too far away from the camera. But if you want to look at someone from the end of your driveway, for example, you really do need a dedicated security camera. I'm currently not allowed to put up a video doorbell in my apartment building, and I'm actually pretty bummed out about the fact, because if I was, this video doorbell would serve as my main video doorbell. I currently have 2 Nest cameras in my apartment. But even if I am well into the Nest ecosystem, I'm not sure I would choose a Nest video doorbell over the SwitchBot Video Doorbell. It's really the local recording as well as the inclusion of a display and solar panel charging, as well as the price that has won me over. If I had to recommend a video doorbell to family or friends, I would definitely recommend the SwitchBot camera over something like a Nest camera. The only downsides, which really are very big downsides, are the Onvif not being able to initialize a stream. But even with those limitations, I think the video doorbell from SwitchBot is worth looking at if you're on the fence about what kind of video doorbell you should get. The price of the video doorbell and the display is currently $150, but if you want the solar panel, it's available as a combo for $200 on the SwitchBot website. But that's pretty much it for this video. If you still have some questions about the video doorbell from SwitchBot, feel free to leave a comment and I'll be sure to answer it as best as I can. Otherwise, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video.